When farmer Charles Nickerson bought BL's struggling tractor business, the cynic said he was taking on the wrong business at the wrong time. Well, next week at the Royal Smithfield Show in London, they'll see just how wrong they were when the new range of Marshall tractors go on show for the first time. Keith Wootton reports on the farmer who found success in the factory.
The sun is set beyond yon hill, across yon dreary moor. When weary and lame, a boy there came up to the farmer's door.
I farm 936 acres of land here, of which we can plough 850. We grow milling wheat and 5 break crops.
Plough and sow, to reap and mow, and be a farmer's boy, and be a farmer's boy.
Nobody's yet convinced me that you can grow crops without tilling the land. And in tilling the land, you require tractors. I've always run crawler tractors on my farm. There's some types of farming land that just have to use a track vehicle because the wheels make too much mess.
Little I fear no work if you give me employ.
So I decided it was time to get a business, and to find one so near to home involved in a subject that I enjoyed very much seemed to be too good to miss, really.
The factory for sale was Marshall's at Gainsborough in Lincolnshire, owned by British Leyland.
Marshall's was founded in Gainsborough in 1848. This company used to make 70 tractors a week in the old single-cylinder pop-pop days. We have the great-grandson of the founder on the staff now. He's a workaholic. We can't stop him.
The firm was acquired by Leyland's in 1974. It became part of the Leyland's Special Products Group, and they ran it until 1979.
They hadn't really very much idea of how to run an agricultural engineering firm. And what happened was they built up a bigger staff, and a lot of people came who had no idea about engineering, with briefcases and Burton suits, and things went from bad to worse. Well, it was at that time that Mr. Nickerson came along.
Having started making crawlers, it became obvious that we ought to extend the range and have a wheel tractor business. I decided to look around and see whose business might be available, and I approached 2 or 3, and Leyland were the most forthcoming.
The attraction this time was BL's tractor plant at Bathgate in Scotland.
The plant was set up when agricultural tractor demand around the world was growing by the minute, so the production levels were set to suit a world demand that instantly receded. So the plant had to be inefficient by its very nature. It was designed to produce 4 times as many tractors as they were at the time. And it was a moving track, so you couldn't just ask 5 men in on a Saturday morning to build a tractor. It couldn't be done. You had to ask 500 in to build 1 tractor. So there was no real chance of making it pay on that basis. I could see a possibility of offering the staff in Scotland continued work. They build engines at the same plant, and we continue to use the same engine. I could safely say it was a fair market price, and from Leyland's point of view, they were very skillful negotiators. They really took me to the end of my piece of rope. I couldn't have gone another pound, really. It was many millions, let's put it that way, many millions. And suddenly the great day arrived when we appeared to own a business. We then had to bring about 700 truckloads of components and machine tools from 5 different locations in Great Britain, but mostly from Bathgate.
Marshall's bought in BL's machinery and some of its workers, but used them in a very different way.
What we've got is to cut down monotony, is to use the team setup that Volvo have, which is that 2 men as a team pick up a unit and finish that unit from start until it comes off track. That's testing the engine, the hydraulics, every aspect of test on the tractor, they do it. We don't need the same quality control because the lads have been trained to be their own inspectors.
Responsibility is being asked to do a variety of different jobs rather than you come to work, you will do that nut up all day and you'll go home. That doesn't require a great deal of brain power. We'd rather people felt responsible enough to do different jobs.
This not being a union shop, it helps considerably because you've got full mobility of labour. Where at Bathgate it was one man, one job. If you've got pressure in one area and you don't have pressure in another area, what we can do is to move the lads from that particular area to the area where the pressure is. I don't think a union is necessary because it's first name terms more or less. You know, between works director right down to the lad that sweeps the floor.
It's possible for anyone here to approach either the works director or indeed the chairman when he's walking around the factory. If there was a grievance, then we'll put it right there and then. It's as simple as that.
Afternoon. Afternoon. Not faced with a problem, I trust?
No.
Okay. What's the problem?
I think it comes back to problem solving, really. We try and be fair with the package of pay and conditions. And it would appear that we're fair enough that people don't feel the need to ask outsiders to come in and negotiate for them, perhaps. But we've no closed mind to trades union activities at all. It doesn't at the moment appear to be the way the men choose to work.
There has been no wage negotiations as such. Every year when the wage rise comes, it comes into your wage packet and everybody seems to be quite happy. And it's a reasonable, above average wage rise. Such as last year, it was, I think it was 4.5% was the national average, and I think we got something like 6%, 6.5%.
I think the only restrictive practice here is that sort of people have to accept that I'm the boss, and if I want it done, it has to be done. But otherwise, it's. I would like to feel that people understand that what we're asking them to do is for the benefit of the company and therefore for their future.
Export job?
Yeah.
Going to Zaire, good.
He shares in all of our problems, and of course this helps to weld the workforce together, and I think is clearly one of the reasons why the company has been so successful.
So it's got to be broken down and put in a packing case, as usual.
Oh, look, we've started now.
He has a remarkable ability to adapt from one situation to another.
Never see.
Well, that's the trouble. It'll ruin my reputation forever now. As second driver to Tom Walkinshaw in what's normally the lead car. I'm expected to take the car over from Tom or start the race, finish the race, whatever it happens to be, and drive entirely to his orders.
He's as happy on the racing track driving a motor car as he is here in the factory.
My involvement in motor racing has shown me tremendous product opportunities. A racing car has to be prepared to most exacting standards. Work has to be undertaken in timescales that normally in industry would be considered just impossible. And the type of solution that's found to impossible problems, which you often find with the car, are just as adaptable to my type of engineering. So I find it a very useful attribute. Turfmaster was a company I found in Essex in 1977. In fact, it was my first business venture out of farming. It came to my attention that this company in grass cutting had suffered from a recession. There'd been 2 years of drought, basically, and nobody wanted to cut the grass. And that if it rained again, which normally it does, that the business would pick up again, and this proved to be correct. Our cheapest mower is £3,500, and we go up to £14,000 if you want the most expensive lawnmower in the world, which is capable of doing anything between 60 and 80 acres of grass cutting a day. So that is in itself is a commercial proposition. I've never set myself a horizon as to how how far I can go basically in business. And so if good opportunities present themselves, or things that I find interesting, I tend to go for them actually.
Another development rose from the ashes of straw burned after the harvest.
We started before the terrible mess was made of the countryside in 1983 after the harvest, when people burnt the straw and everybody else's property with it and covered everybody with dust and ash. This made it quite obvious that it would be better if an alternative could be found to straw burning. The compact process is based on the principle of squeezing whatever the fibrous material may be in a heavy press using steam. We put in a certain amount of glue. After 2 minutes, the material comes out as a hard, durable board. It's then trimmed and cut to whatever shape is required. We found the material satisfactory for packing pieces of heavy equipment that we're sending abroad ourselves. Quite a lot of our export packing material is now our own produce.
The board may soon be used to build millions of homes overseas. The tractors are there already.
Half of the tractors we produce go abroad. We sell to Iceland, North America, the Pacific, the Far East, the Middle East, everywhere.
But Marshalls didn't have a tractor big enough to compete with their rivals. So in just 2 years they designed and built one. Now it's shown for the first time to the dealers who used to sell Leylands.
Because we do a lot of development work, we've decided to invite all the dealers here today, all our dealer customers, about 130 of them.
So that's putting fairly, yeah, that's some heavy old ground.
Been stood there for a long while like that too.
Yeah.
I believe it's a great benefit to, certainly my own point of view, and to the company's benefit, that I am a farmer, and a practicing farmer at that. Because I can try new ideas out on the farm. I can test things perhaps before I need embarrass myself in the marketplace and decide if things are as good as they look to be. I can also perhaps catch a trend of what is likely to happen in agriculture before it becomes obvious to my competitors. A lot of people say to me, how on earth dare you go into the tractor business? It's in a terrible mess. And there are some people that have had problems in tractor manufacturing. Their problems aren't mine.
Welcome, welcome.
Congratulations to you.
Have I given birth? They let me think.
No, I think
You think they're all right, do you?
I think you're doing a wonderful job, yeah.
So just because an industry's got a bad name doesn't mean you shouldn't go into it. And in fact, if you go into it and make a good job of it, you're more likely to have a safer life, actually, than going into something that's moving very fast, like, let's say, microelectronics. So hence I found it better to perhaps live in a smaller pond, but sort of have the only rowing boat on the pond. I'd also like to be responsible for taking the tractor into the 21st century, taking a quantum leap, as I think it's named.
Now, just 5 weeks left to enter our venture designer competition.